welcome to the video guys. I'm going to show you my easy liquidity strategy that I've used to turn small accounts into large accounts many times, and my students have done this as well. So make sure you grab a notepad and pen, close out all of your other tabs, and don't miss any part of this video because this truly is going to help you a lot with your crypto trading. So let's jump straight into it. So firstly, you're going to need a crypto exchange, a derivatives platform so you can place trades with leverage. I recommend using BITUNIX. It's currently ranked 30 in terms of all of the crypto exchanges, just behind say Coinbase and Bybit, etc. And the good thing about BITUNIX is it's no KYC, so you don't need to upload passport and verification documents. You can create an account with an email and start trading in 10 minutes. And the great thing about BITUNIX as well is you're going to get 30% fee rebate. Okay, so this means USDT deposited back into your account every single day based on the volume and fees that you generate trading. All of the big crypto traders I know in real life, trading multiple 7, 8, maybe even 9 figures, are utilizing these fee rebates as a part of their strategy. You want to transfer some crypto, say USDT or say Ethereum or any crypto of your choice, over to BITUNIX from a different platform typically. You can do this by just tapping on deposit after signing up with my referral link, which by the way guys is not only going to get you 30% fee rebate, but you are going to get access to the live trades, the trades that I send, the trade recaps, our community and VIP channels as well in the Discord server. And to deposit on BITUNIX, you simply just pick whichever crypto you like. I prefer to transfer USDT on the TRC20 network, and then you just tap on deposit and it's going to give you that corresponding address. Very simple stuff. And then you just tap on transfer up here and swap that USDT from your spot account, which is where you typically invest and you hold cryptos with no leverage. This is not ready for trading, although you can trade on spot. Most people are trading on futures, and that's what we're using for this particular strategy. So once you're good to go and you have money sat in your futures account as mentioned, you'll see your balance right here. You can see currently I have 19,000 USDT, and I also have about $5,700 in a Bitcoin long position as we currently speak. If we go over to position history, let's have a look at my most recent trades. So you can see there's 2 losses here, quite small losses, minus $400 and minus $100. But then you can see one of my recent trades, which is actually using the strategy I'm about to show you, netted me almost $5,000 for an 86% gain. And this trade was actually shared completely free as a trade inside the Crypto Trader Sub, my free community guys. You know, if you want some extra help with this strategy after the video, you know exactly where to go. So step 1 of the strategy, you firstly want to click up here where you typically are going to see Bitcoin, and now it's going to open up all the current tradable pairs over on BITUNIX, and they have a lot. It's one of my preferred platforms, not only for the no KYC, not only for the fee rebates, but also because they upload a lot of different cryptos, and this works perfectly for the strategy I'm about to teach you. So you want to go ahead and click on these 2 arrows here, and we're going to filter by the top 24-hour gainers. These are the cryptos that have seen the most explosive gains on the BITUNIX platform in the last 24 hours. You can see Mudeng here is up 46% with $67 million of volume. Now for this strategy, we're going to need at least 25 million of volume. You can see many examples here of coins that are up over 30 or 25% in the last 24 hours. So you can clearly see there's a lot of volatility here, and with the right strategy and right approach, we can really utilize this volatility to our advantage. So this strategy is going to utilize a trading method called draw on liquidity. Very, very simple. And you can see we see a range low and a range high, where the candles slightly push below or above. This is basically triggering stop losses of any people that are placing their stop losses and liquidations below or above key levels. Let me explain. So even just using Bitcoin as an example to illustrate this, if I zoom out, anyone that's long within this price action is likely going to have seen this low and will place their stop losses accordingly just below here, or have their liquidation prices there as well. So the market makers that are in control of the crypto markets, they want as much fuel and to make as much money as possible. So where are they going to drive that price? Well, they're going to drive the price below a key level where people are hiding their stop losses and liquidation prices. You can consider all of these stop losses and liquidations that are hit within this level as rocket fuel for Bitcoin to just pump even higher. There is also a double whammy because people who see that this key level and range low was broken are also going to be trying to short this. They will think, wow, we've just broken this level. Bitcoin is going to dump. It's going much lower. So they'll be placing short positions just below this level. And what do you think is going to happen? The market makers are going to push that sell side liquidity back up to the other side to essentially get rid of as many traders as possible and use that as fuel for a bigger move. If I just zoom in on Bitcoin again and give you another example of this, you can see this was a very clear range high resistance. So looking back to here, it will be buy side liquidity. And you can see the market makers deliberately push the price up to this level. Why? Because they're going to trap people who are breakout trading. You can see that there was no candlesticks closed above this line. So anyone who sees price action closing a candlestick up here is likely going to open new long positions because they think, wow, we've just seen a breakout to the upside. I'm going to take a big long position, ultimately because they want Bitcoin to go for a new all-time high. They're emotional. They've seen this range being broken and they're long. They're expecting a big pump. The market makers love this, and that's why they're going to stop you out and push price back in the opposite direction, ultimately giving us this draw on liquidity in both directions constantly, which is rocket fuel for these market makers. Okay, now we need to go back on to the 24-hour gainers. So just filter with these two arrows again, and let's take our pick of any coin here that has, say, at least 25 million volume. If you see something with 23, that's also close enough as well. Okay, we can immediately see there is a coin that has been absolutely ripping in the last 24 hours. This is called Sky AI. Now, I don't know what this crypto is, but we can see it's up 40% in the last 24 hours and $23.66 million of volume in the last 24 hours. Now, as a trader, we don't need to care too much about really what this crypto is. We're not looking to buy and hold this thing. We're just looking for a quick trade to make some money. So after zooming in to the current price action on the 5-minute chart, if we now map out this range low that was taken, you can see we've just had a draw on liquidity right here. So what I would be looking to do right now is map out this candle that has created this draw on liquidity. So if I zoom in, you can see I've drawn this actual box here from the wick low that took out this liquidity all the way up to the third candle here with that wick as well. So this is going to be an area of liquidity now that I am very much satisfied that can be hit and act as this draw on liquidity that could give rocket fuel for a continuation to the upside. So there's two ways you can approach this. The main star of the show is getting a retest of this liquidity level, okay? So this is going to be our reason for entry. We've managed to get below this range low. You can highlight the draw of liquidity either from this last candle close right here, which was the lowest point where a candle closed, you can see on this range, or you could go for this wick right here as well. Both are absolutely fine. And even if you were to choose this lowest wick, you can see price ever so slightly got below that. So this is most definitely what's known as a draw on liquidity, which is exactly what we're looking for. What I'm now looking for on this 5-minute chart is a retest into this level. And you can see the price is already giving us that retest, okay? So I'm not going to overthink this. I'm just going to jump straight into a long position right here at the market price because I can see price is retesting our liquidity area. Now we need to set a sensible stop loss, okay? So I'm just going to enter now with my stop loss at around a 2% risk. And my trade, I will be targeting, likely I'm going to see price action push up to at least this wick right here. So if I grab a horizontal ray, the first liquidity level you can see is the top of this wick, which also aligns very nicely with this other price action here, which when the market came up to this level, it saw an immediate reaction pushing price back down. So I would highlight this wick right here, and that's going to be my take profit. Now, this is giving us a very nice 5 risk reward trade right here. So this means we're looking to gain 5 times what we're risking, which is absolutely perfect. So let's go ahead and jump into the trade. I'd recommend for these lower time frame strategies that we're using like this, you use anywhere from 20x to around 50x leverage. This is going to give you the most leverage in the market for these lower time frames. But you're probably thinking, wow, that sounds very risky. But in crypto trading, nothing is more risky because we decide with our stop loss how much we actually are going to lose in USDT. It does not matter what our leverage is. It matters where our stop loss is. And I'll show you guys right now. As a general rule of thumb, I like to put 10% of my balance into the trade for margin. That does not mean we're risking 10%. It means our actual trade margin, and margin refers to actual money in the market we're going to put in. So if my available balance is $19,000, I'm going to put $900 of value into this trade. You can see the market is already reacting based on this liquidity sweep. So I need to stop wasting time and just jump into the market. So what I would do is without hesitation, just open the trade straight away. There you go. You can see we're now entered into this trade right here. A little bit late. Obviously, I wanted to get in this liquidity area, but that doesn't matter realistically. So now once I've jumped into the trade, I scroll down to the actual trades on BITUNIX and I just tap on position TP and SL right here. Now remember guys, we're using 10% of our total balance in this trade. So we need to risk a percentage of that 10%. And remember, we're trying to grow our account pretty quickly here, okay? So our stop loss right here was around 40% using 20x leverage. You can see we're risking 2%. So that will be 40% with 20x leverage. So we're going to have a look at what that number is for our stop loss, which is 0.04979. So we'll add 0.04979. So we're going to risk around half of our 10%, okay? So we're risking around about 5% of our total balance, which is $500. So you can see that that goes perfectly at our stop loss level. We don't yet have our TP set up, okay? So we need to now scroll out and have a look. Where was our TP level? Remember, we set our TP level at this area of liquidity as well, which clearly had a reaction in the market where the price decided to dump after we got to this level. So let's have a look what that number is. It's 0.05606. So we just simply scroll back down, tap on this little pen icon, and we go and add it as a TP, 0.05606. So we are looking to gain $1,600. So this is going to grow our account by a lot of money. Remember, we entered with 10% margin. So this is potentially going to grow our account by 20% if we hit take profit on this trade. And the good thing about this strategy is it does have a very high win rate. Now, I would recommend you aim closer to 2 to 3% of your account balance per trade risked. And always look to target at least 2 times the profit that you're risking. In this case, we're looking for 5 times. So you guys can imagine if we manage to hit some good take profits using this strategy, how fast we can actually grow our account. So let me just recap on why we took this trade. So we noticed using this draw on liquidity, we had sell side liquidity that was taken out in the market. We entered with a retest of this level. So we drew our actual liquidity zone using the lowest wick and the third candle's wick right there as well. So leaving a gap right in between, giving us our nice liquidity area in the market that we were looking for a retest to enter. So we need to identify an area of liquidity in the market. And to do so, you typically want to see the lows get taken out. You can see that the lows were taken out right here. So this is our draw on liquidity as mentioned. And what we would do is draw our rectangle box from the lowest point all the way up to where that liquidity basically ended, going back up into the range. And this essentially is going to be our area where we look for a retest before we enter. For some additional confluence as well, you can actually look for a fair value gap after the retest as well, also known as an imbalance. Those of you that don't know what a fair value gap is, there's plenty of resources on YouTube, but you guys can see this and you'll learn this in more upcoming videos from myself. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe if you like this content and you want to see live trading and also all of my other strategies that I'm using on a daily basis. You can see it's a 3 candlestick formation with an imbalance, a gap in between it. And if you notice this after the retest, that can be some additional confirmation that you guys can look for as a 3-step instead of 2-step confirmation at your list before you enter into the trades. Now, the good thing about this strategy is it also works in the opposite direction in the market. So you could go to the top losing pairs in the last 24 hours, and there's usually a lot of them that are being manipulated by market makers and the owners of these coins. oftentimes presenting us with a lot of trading opportunities. So we want for this strategy mostly to be on the lower time frames like the 15-minute and the 5-minute, but it also can sometimes work well on say the 30-minute or 1 hour as well. So now you guys understand how this strategy works. You can see very nicely from my APT trade that I showed you at the start of the actual video, you can see our setup was exactly a draw on liquidity to the upside. And that's exactly why we took this trade. Very simple stuff. And I got more confirmation afterwards because there was a fair value gap after the actual draw on liquidity was retested. So this strategy can work really well in the opposite direction. Once you see price is pumping, you can see it's in a range again, and it doesn't quite manage to get above until it does. And then we see price action fall down. So this would be a draw on liquidity where we're actually looking to take a short position. You can see right here, the draw on liquidity was very nice. You would have been looking for a retest of that area on those lower time frames. And then if you want some additional confirmation, you could look for a fair value gap as well to confirm basically giving you more ideas and confirmation for this entry and setup. So if I just show you quickly and illustrate how powerful this strategy can be for a 60% win rate. So if we take 10 trades, we win 6 trades and we lose 4, which is fairly realistic. Although once you get to grips with this strategy, it will play out more like an 80% win rate strategy. So we're risking around 3% of our total balance per trade. You can see on my example, it was closer to 4 or 5%. That's the absolute most you should ever use and is quite risky. So 3% is much better. And as we mentioned, we're looking for at least a 2 risk reward. So we could say at minimum, you're looking to gain maybe, 6.5%. It will be closer to 7-8% in reality. But let's just say for this example, we start with 100 USDT, 60% win rate, 3% of our account risked per trade to gain at least 2 times back. So let's say we take 50 trades. And you don't need to worry about leverage for this calculator, but as mentioned, anything from 20x to 50x, depending on the actual volatility. And you guys will get to grips with that. If you need some help, join the community and ask some questions. I'll help you guys out. But if we run this strategy, you can see in 50 trades, we more than double your account balance. And the compounding will start to really take effect after around 100 trades. And you can see that that's when you end up with $1,000. Running through the actual trades, you can see right here, 4 wins in a row, 3 losses in a row. So this is, fairly realistic. And then you see a mixture of these wins and losses with your account balance growing every single trade. Now, what's important to remember, guys, if you want compounding like this to really start taking effect, and that's how you could see we grew the account to $1,000 from $100, you guys need to use a fixed risk percentage per trade. And that's very simple stuff, guys, because if you're risking 3% of your balance per trade and your balance keeps growing, but the risk percentage of your account stays the same, you're effectively reinvesting your profits back into the market. And that's when compounding can really take effect. But of course, none of this is financial advice, guys, and you can lose all of your money. These strategies are not absolutely perfect and they might not work as intended. However, this is exactly the strategy that I'm using on a daily basis, and I have been trading for the last 11 years. So whilst this might not be financial advice and you could lose all of your money, this is just what I'm using and why I'm telling you to hopefully help you guys learn that you can make and grow small accounts crypto trading very fast. Make sure you use my BITUNIX link so you get those 30% fees every single day in your account and access to my private community where I do live trading and a bunch of other things. Thanks for watching the video, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.